So are you ready to begin? I'd like to make a couple introductory remarks here. I know we're working with the auditor's forms and we'll get to that, I'm sure, but I've also given you some materials on your desk. And the top thing is the secondary road budget in the DOT form. And on the first page is a revenue page and the second page is the expenditure page. And that has 12 categories. And, you know, those engineer, admin, bridges and culverts, roads, snow and ice, traffic control, the 12 categories. And that's where I like the board's focus to be, what we're emphasizing or prioritizing the coming year. And I can summarize the total expenditures that I'm proposing is $5,685,000. That's up $160,000 from a current year of $5,525,000. And that's, you can see that on this, on the DOT expenditure column on the right, fiscal year 2025. And I've got some other handouts kind of for you that deals with equipment and machine hours and some other revenue things. We'll get to them in due course. So how do you want me to go over the auditor's form? The first category is admin. There's no change from the previous year. Of total, it's 280,000 like it was current year. The next category is engineering. I've pulled $10,000 off of that. We've based on 6 months. We're fine. That reduced a few percent.
What's the deduction? Going back to that first page, so you had a 12% reduction in secondary road fund engineering services? Or you dropped that 12%? What was it? What is that line item? Sorry.
That's, I paid consultants from that. That's primary use.
That's what that fund is?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have one over here that's the same thing, but it's 11% reduction, so it's 80,300.
Which
423 is the line item.
Second page,
Second page.
fifth line down. Second line down.
oh, that's where I pulled 10,000.
And that's
Is that
not,
consultant
that's not gonna
also?
affect anything, or what does that money, what's that go towards?
That's the, you know, that's the engineering services is where I pay consultants from.
More consultants, so those both are consultants? Am I,
Okay.
Well, there's no consultants in admin, that's in engineering. We're on page 2,
yeah,
right?
so there's no consultants in engineering?
No, the consultants are in engineering, not admin.
So he's that,
So what's the one in
the
admin?
48,000 that went down 12,000, it went down 12%.
What's the one that went down to the 12%?
Yeah, on page 1, there was one that went down 12%.
In administration.
Yeah, under admin.
I'm not sure what gets paid out.
It's harder for him to switch from the DOT budget to the county budget. They're totally different.
Okay. I just wondered, I just wondered why we were. I mean, it's good that we're dropping those, but I just didn't know what that was impacting.
Bridges and culverts is the same.
Bridges and culverts is the same.
How about roads?
Roads are up $100,000 and
And that is why?
because we're gonna need more rock. And that's just a fit into what I really need, but that's about all I can figure to squeeze out.
Which line are you on there?
We're on the roads part down here.
Okay.
He's added $100,000.
Oh, okay.
So bridges and culverts, current year, we've spent ahead of half, but we have enough pipe in the yard to, we don't have to buy any pipe this spring. We got some tank cars to put in as bridges, so we have enough supplies this year, so, you know, last year we had bridges and culverts were $500,000 and the 410 is what was budgeted. And so I'm gonna try to keep that this year and then future year also. So.
So roads and roads.
We're gonna, to roads, we're gonna, with that extra $100,000 in the engineering services, that's
No, ice is the same.
snow and ice is the same. See, let me make a generalized statement. These 12 categories, my 22 maintenance guys float between the 12 categories. They don't always work in bridges and culverts. Maybe they do primarily, but when it's snow and ice time, everybody plows snow. And so then we charge that category for their wages. And so the money, the guys float between the categories, and so the money floats between the categories too. And what I use most in projecting is history. You know, how the history has been with this. You'll recall, maybe it was last year that we looked back at road clearing. We've traditionally spent more than we've budgeted on road clearing. And so we increased that and shrunk some other, you know, one of the 12 categories.
On the rock back up there, in previous years, we've spent a lot more. It looks like, am I looking at that right? Like in 2021 is 1.5 million, and then a little over a million, then 1.2 million in 23. You see that? Can you see that?
Yeah. Sure.
So what is the reason you say you need more rock? Why were things backed off so much there? Like last year, we only budgeted.
Because we had bigger budgets back in 2021.
But you're needing to be more in that, what it used to be range? Because you're going back up towards that, so.
Yeah, so it's increasing.
And year to date, we're at over $1 million right now.
That's gonna be a challenge.
So is it, right, it's gonna be a big challenge there.
So do we have enough put in there?
It's gonna be difficult to rock like we would, well, like we would wish to rock. Now I've got a farm to market rock coming in the spring. So that'll help with some of that, but we spent money on PC patching on J64, which won't need to be done again.
Right. So this year, I mean, if we're basically, what's the plan? Cause this year you're at 113%, so there's not gonna be any money the rest of the year for extra rock or,
Well, there won't be a lot of money, but we'll have to have some money. And we usually, pull money from snow and
I was
ice
gonna say, I was just thinking that if we get fortunate, we don't have
and another.
any more
big
snow. And
snap.
well, we've done really well till now. This little around here,
Correct,
Yeah.
we're due our head there. You could pivot that money to rock.
yes, and we do that, it's inside the category. And it's, we can shift money in from category to category in the control group with the DOT and certainly within the counties. In the county budget part,
And when the frost comes up this spring,
there's no frost.
I know none yet, but there will be. We're eventually gonna freeze and everything. It's gonna be a deal. Have some rock.
The benefit with our current conditions is the ground is not frozen and should be taking in water.
Yeah.
And yes, the roads will be sloppy.
Yeah.
We're taking phone calls. So snow and ice is the same. Traffic control is the same. Road clearing is the same.
And road clearing, that's the brush.
Yeah, and mowing
Mowing.
in the summertime, road clearing, that's cutting trees and mowing.
On all the employees, I know you take them from lots of different categories, their payment. And I don't remember if we did this last year or not. Can you break that down? How much, what their total salaries are? Do you have that anywhere? Do we have that somehow?
I may have that. My office manager is doing grandchild stuff today.
Just,
And it's,
if you don't have it right now, it's just, we can, it's confusing as you can't just go down person by person because they're broken into several places they're paid from.
Do you need to know person or person?
Well, I guess just category, you know, just,
I've got last.
yeah, I would probably have it in this other binder, but, cause you have your, of course, your wage, then we would have road foreman and shop foreman and what all their wages are.
I don't have a breakdown of that, I don't think.
Might be in this folder.
I don't know what he gave you to everybody.
Copy of that maybe, or what you say?
This was effective, July 1, 22, but it might have been last year's. Not sure. Oh, this was the hourly wage, and then District 4, and then statewide he had. So you can probably get a new one for that.
When we go over the salary stuff, we'll know what we're talking about.
Okay, we have, what's your new equipment,
Okay,
right?
let's come to new equipment. There's some handouts there. There's a legal size sheet that has machine hours on it. The August of 2013 is when that was the first month that was the second month I was in the county. And so we had 62,000 hours cumulative on the fleet. And we've got a couple motor graders and the cumulative hours went down in 2014 and then we did we bought some demo machines. And then in 2022, we bought a used machine And last year in December, the new John Deere 672 showed up, number 6. And so we're now.
Which one's the rebuilt one we totally rebuilt?
Number 2 and 5.
Oh, okay, so those hours are,
Those are total hours on.
I know,
the
but it's,
rebuilds.
no, I mean, where's the one that we just rebuilt a couple of years ago that would, I mean,
That'd
that,
be number 2.
okay, so that 14,000, well, how many hours past the rebuild? I mean, maybe 1,000 or 2, you did it, when we do it?
A couple. We did
Maybe-
that 2 years ago.
I don't, yeah,
I think it's
been
a couple
last year
thousand.
too, so I mean, it would be, that number's a little bit,
Right, it's not a true
Accurate.
representation
yeah,
of,
it'd be more of 2,000 or 3,000 hour type machine than a 14,000. So it drop us down to 69 or 7,
So what's number 5 at the 18,000?
is that the spare machine?
that's the spare machine.
So why aren't we trading that one?
We are trading that
Well,
one.
that's the one we're trading
Yeah,
in.
and,
It says
right,
trade number 3.
well, that's for fiscal year 25. The one, number 5, that's for the current fiscal year. That's the one, that's number 5 is traded with the cat that we're
Well, this is trade-in for the cat now.
now. The cat's in Altoona now. I've got 3 guys in Altoona looking at the new cat machine today. So they're, I'm the only one in the office.
So we'd be right now at around 69,000, maybe sort of accurate hours on the fleet with that one being rebuilt. If you just knock 11,000 off then. 14,000.
Instead of. In other words, you cut, instead of the 14,000 for number
If you wanna
2.
call it 3,000 hours, but just because it's been totally redone. If you just call it 3,000, then
So you're
So then
saying the
we'd
number,
be.
we bought a one that,
80,000 is truer.
Yeah, the 80,000 wouldn't be accurate.
71.
well, if you had 14,000 hours and we say it zeroed out at 11,000 or something or 12, well, we redid it a couple years ago. That thing was totally redone, like a brand new road grader.
you're talking about number 2?
Number 2, yeah. So those hours aren't totally reflective because it was totally rebuilt. We
Is
spent,
this the one that we've had some trouble with though?
Yeah, but they've taken it back.
redone
Warranty work.
it, warranty. It was like, supposed to be like a brand new road grader when we did it, so.
And we rebuilt it in 2020.
I don't remember what year it was, 21 or 2, it wasn't 20, 'cause I wasn't,
I mean,
it's been a couple years ago,
And number 5 has been rebuilt,
a long time ago.
but so that's the actual hours, the 11,000.
Yeah, I bet that is. Well, 18,000 is,
18,000,
that's actual, I don't know what to call it.
Number 6.
And that's the one that's really,
Is 11,000.
oh, yeah, right, the oh, yeah, I saw the wrong one. So that's actual, so the 18,000 hour one,
That's the one we're trading in for the
Right.
cat.
yeah.
Number 5 is 18,000, right?
And that's gonna actually shrink our machine
So
hours
that'll make
way
a
back.
big difference, yeah.
And it's a spare. It's not one always being used unless we have
Correct.
one down, so I mean. As you can see, if you go back in time, there was number 1 for several years, there was no number 1. So. So we're not
The
near as
8,000
upside down as it has been,
I
the-
still think we need 2 road graders.
Well, I'd rather buy one at a time.
Huh? What'd you
Didn't we
say?
just buy 2?
We
we
did.
bought 2 new ones and we bought a total rebuilt one and a used one.
And the used-
So we bought 4 in the last couple of years.
Correct.
4 graders.
We haven't bought 4 graders, we've had rebuilt.
Well, the one was 200, it was full new warranty, just like totally, like it was a new one. The other one was what, 3,000 hours or whatever, the one we bought. Used. So, yeah, the line item there is pretty big, we're at 860,000.
What's number 6? Is that the new John Deere?
Yes. Number 6 is a new.
Not bad roads.
Might be better off,
If they do the roads perfect.
more, well, I don't know if that's gonna make any difference,
So
unless it isn't running.
what I'm proposing for equipment is
It's not gonna make any difference, new or not.
toward the new equipment proposed list for FY 25. So in consultation with my two superintendents, this is the list. The motor grader, one motor grader, similar to the specs we did last fall, and a wheel loader. We only have one wheel loader. We use it to load trucks. That's its most important work, to load trucks, sand and salt in the wintertime. And I don't have a good backup. We could load with, I suppose, our skid steers, but that would take 3 times as long. And when you multiply them, or
Is the wheel loader we have, is it an old one?
it's a Deere.
I mean, that being something just to load trucks, if you're looking, what, is that a new price or used price, or what is that?
This would be a new machine.
Are we
And
keeping an
not-
old one then?
And we'd keep
It's all-
the
yeah,
current,
Right,
we'd keep the current one.
I have two.
Then we'd have a little redundancy, and we could also stage it. We could haul rock in the wintertime and pile it up in outlying stockpiles. So that when it was time to shoulder, for example, we'd have rock close. And we could have a machine out in the country and also one at the shop. Because we use it around the shop regularly. And then the sign truck and the mower tractor. You know that, you'll notice over on the right hand, I quit adding at 860,000 because the sign truck, the equipment company out of St. Joe, where we priced a body or the truck equipment used to pound in signs, signposts and such, and the lift, so we can get out there where the sign is and bolt it up and all such things. Those service bodies are, if we were to order it now, it won't get in fiscal year 25. It'll get in fiscal year 26. So I'm proposing we order a sign truck, but we won't get it in this fiscal year. It'll be in the next fiscal year. You know, it's the delivery times is 2 years away.
I didn't think the sign truck was that old,
Sign trucks,
2003.
it's having problems.
I just didn't think it was that old. Hmm.
It's 2003. That's 20 years. And the mower tractor we're proposing would be one similar to the John Deere we have now, except we're gonna get rid of the cat mower, which has a side and rear mower and also a boom mower attachment. It's the yellow one we've had, and that machine needs to go away. Couple seasons ago, it was down for a transmission most of the season. That may have been before you were on the board.
So you've got one grader. And that's to get rid of the spare, so which one becomes the spare? You're trading off which one now?
3.
No,
Take
he's trading
number
off,
4.
I don't know, it says trade 3.
oh,
Trade number 3, it says.
Right. So number 5 is going away now. And then the next oldest machine is 3. next machine that needs to go away is 3, and then 4 will be the spare.
Operations is up 10,000.
Just a little bit.
10,000. That's the same.
So left to go this year, and what we're at, 446,000, what's left to buy this year? In your equipment purchase?
One more motor grader, that's all.
So that's gonna be a difference of what, 3? I don't remember the
It's
number.
353,
That's the difference.
I think. That was what,
So you've got about a 90,000 or so left this year? Cause you're, no, you'd be about right there, wouldn't you?
okay,
350, you'd be right there.
I have some notes penciled in beside my 6-month thing. My 6-month thing has 715,780 left, but the John Deere motor grader cost $362,700. And the cat costs $353,084 or $81, and I have $886 left.
Yeah,
So
I see that.
there's
Zeroed
no
out.
money. There's no money,
No money left.
there's no more money in new equipment. We got all the equipment we're gonna get.
Yep.
Does anybody else have a meeting or is it just me?
There's something beeping. I don't know where it is. but
Yeah.
What?
Something beeping.
What about that?
I just want to make sure other people can hear it.
No, smoke alarm, is it?
No.
And now it's all I hear. Oh. Well, as far as we see, you need rock money, but I'm trying to see. What equipment, we have bought a lot of graders. Is the bed wore out on the sign truck? Is that part wore out? Your box
The equipment parts, yeah,
that does all the lifting and pounding and all that's all wore out?
right, the truck's a problem, it's a worn out, it's 20 years old.
It's walking, but it's an elevator open. Block.
Under,
If we were to order it now, it wouldn't come in, and this was 25.
So
Except if you order it now, it'll probably.
you have to pay up front, probably.
No.
No, technically.
Right, I mean, we're not gonna, the cost won't hit what we're establishing for a budget now. That's why I have that motor tractor there ready to fill in, or we can just understand that you might budget for it, but we're not gonna spend it this.
how many horse tractor is that you're wanting? 100 horse, 140 horse something? And the tractor itself's 200,000 for 100 horse
No, there's more.
with the mower?
Although I was looking back in fiscal year 2016, mower, tractor, mowers and the tractor was $110,000.
110?
Yeah. That just
Well, I
shows, that just shows what our dollar has devalued. That's the main,
I think it's possible to do some shopping on that. I don't think it has to be 200,000.
So is this, are these prices, JD, with the trade? An estimated, oh, I see, never mind. Yeah, no. Okay,
the motor grader is. The wheel loader's not, because we're not trading it. And the,
what's,
What's
okay,
the-
like you've got 370,000 for a new motor grader. And you're trading in number 3 and you got 370,000 there too. But you're not gonna trade for that.
That's what you think it's gonna cost after the trade. That's double we spent on those other two.
that's,
Wheel loader's 270,000
Did you trade in money?
and 600.
No, I think that's,
that's the cumulative over on the right, the column on the right, Judy,
Yeah,
is the cumulative cost of the equipment.
okay, the wheel loader is 270,000, but the cumulative is 640.
Well, 370 plus 240.
Oh, you're
270.
adding down.
yeah,
Duh, okay.
Okay.
so that's if, yeah, don't trade, add that on.
Now I get it.
Did you not, you didn't get it either?
No, I
Okay.
didn't get it either.
Well,
Like-
but you wanna know how
Okay.
much,
Yep,
how much the total
I
is.
got to 860.
how you got to 860, I got, it. Yeah, I was wondering.
Okay,
Well,
That's without the sign truck. That 860.
no, it's
No,
on.
it includes the sign truck, it doesn't include the mower.
So you had 220 to 640.
I was just trying to take out the mower or the sign truck, because we wouldn't have to have that.
Well,
shit paid.
then we'd put in 640 for new equipment. If we're dropping the sign truck. Well, we're not gonna spend the sign truck.
Yeah, you're
money
not gonna
this
spend
year.
it, so why put it in the, why would you put it in until next year? I guess.
So that we can talk about it here, so we know this, what we're doing. Then you put that money back into roads.
Looks to me like on the gravel lines where we're short, where you're gonna be upside down. That's what I'm seeing here. Is that your biggest hole?
Yeah. I fear this spring.
That's what I'm thinking about
You know,
this spring.
And this spring could be next week.
Right. Gets up 60 degrees.
Oh,
That's what I'm seeing. I'm trying to figure out how to. Move money around. But the new trailer to haul rock, spot rock this spring. I've seen him running around with it. The increasing efficiency there, helping to haul rock when they go out.
So he's hauling more rock. I mean, that's just one trailer.
Right. So what he's asking here is, do we say put the sign truck onto the next year? To round up a couple $100,000, put towards other places that are low.
you're not adding it in any,
Well, he has it in the budget right now. We're looking at it 860. You see that?
I see that, but it doesn't make sense if we're looking at,
But how come you didn't add the mower tractor then?
yeah.
I think you're having that ready in case the one didn't come, you could buy the other. Is that what you want to do?
Well, if you give me 860, then I can buy the mower tractor this fiscal year 25.
And not the
That comes
truck.
up to 840,000 if you add the motor grader, the wheel loader and the
Hmm.
mower tractor, that's 840,000.
Right.
But you're gonna have a trade-in for the grader, so you have something.
I think
No, the.
that's the trade
three-
price.
The three the 370
is trade-in?
is the
That's
trade,
with
cause
it, yeah,
that's what we're paying
deer and
for
cat,
deer and
basically,
cat now.
with the
Three
trade.
sixty-two with trades, 362 and 353.
Okay,
So I think that one is in there, so
and it's 200,000 with the trade-in for the mower tractor?
I think that could be it. I think a little bit of shopping, you guys could get a what's the mower part of it? This a mower that hangs off the side, or just a bat one?
It's, no, it's more on the side and then.
And you want a whole different one of them, a new one, so that, I don't know
Yeah.
what one of those costs, so. 100-horse tractor that's pretty good shape, pretty low hour. You can get into one of them,
For what, 100?
100, probably, I mean, a little over, I mean, somewhere in that ballpark, if you get one slightly used. So, I don't know what your mower costs, though,
We asked John Deere for
a ballpark,
a ballpark, a budget number,
yeah.
and with the mowers, that's not, so it's not a user. We haven't looked for a user.
Yeah, just to, cause it's just talking about a tractor here, that doesn't have to be, I mean, I look at front wheel assist tractors all the time. Generally, I'm looking at a brand new one, I'll look one with a few hours on it, just to knock 50 or 75,000 off. Let's see, do we get a special deal on any of that, any kind of a special price?
So it's government price.
So that might make a big difference too, so. Okay, well, I guess what we need to, what you're wanting to know is, do you want to go just grader and wheel loader, or do one of those other two things on top of it? That's kind of where he's at here. Or do we need that couple $100,000 to put towards other holes in the budget this year, coming year? Is that what you need to know?
I would
Work inside the 640?
work inside the 640, try to find the tractor a little bit lower price, maybe shop around. See what we can do there,
But then we would have
have a couple $100,000.
maybe,
Maybe
if you
to
need,
change.
well, he's going from 640 to 840, you'd have 200,000, or 860.
Well, I'm figuring if you're gonna leave some money there for the mower eventually, we find a different price. You're not gonna find one probably cheaper, you
You
save
might save 50,000
50,000, yeah,
if you get fortunate, to find something,
and then,
or wait till, so the next year, so we're talking a whole nother year out, you want to buy another grader, right? And then we were talking beyond this one,
We can buy another motor grader,
and then
then I'll have to pay for a sign truck.
you'd have a sign truck, so you're gonna be at 500,000-600,000 right there again. You'd be at 570 at 200 and you're right at 600,000 for a grader and a sign truck the next year. So,
do they ever issue like grants for equipment? Right, I just, I mean, I was just
The
wondering.
only,
because-
the only grants for equipment are
Because
Yeah.
IRVM.
like fire department, we get grants for our,
Yeah.
we sign up for grants and they buy.
Counties don't usually get grants.
I didn't know if there was such a
the
thing.
integrated roadside.
It'd be nice. We should-
IRVM, the weed commissioner guys,
uh-huh,
they have grants for
Some grants for-
drills.
spray stuff,
I don't know about the spray part, but the drill, we got a drill. and then
oh, a
you have to-
drill,
You have to do special things. You can't get rid of it any old way. You have to
Right.
yeah.
give the money back when you get money.
We hadn't bought graders in a while, now we're buying, we're gonna have bought 6 of the,
You buy some the year before I got on?
No,
we bought,
We bought two
since
last.
I've been here, we bought the rebuilt one, totally like a brand new one, we bought that used one, then the 2 new ones, so it's 4 graders, right?
and the used one has been rebuilt, right?
No, the used one was just low hour, that 3,500 hour one, is that
The
right?
used one is the used one that we bought is number 7.
Yeah, 3,500 hours, see, it was just a low hour one,
Yeah, it was a demo machine.
a demo machine, so we bought that one, we rebuilt the one for just a little bit less than it cost to buy a new one, rebuild it.
No.
It was about 100,000 less, but it was like new.
75,000.
Yeah, so there's those 2, they were new to the fleet. And then there's 2 brand new ones that's just recently, so that's 4, then you want 2 more to be 6. 6 in the last 3 years or so. Of the, how many do we have? 8, so the whole fleet's gonna about be flipped.
you're thinking about, you're talking about including next year, not,
I'm just thinking down the road what we're buying. We're gonna have 6 of the 8 by fiscal year 26, would that be right?
I know,
9? Have 1 spare. Okay, well, we just need to,
Yes, my thinking is just doing the grader and the loader. And then trying to stay in that 640 ballpark. And look at the tractor prices and see, but that could raise us up. To what,
it'll be 800,000 per
do
year.
we need a mower tractor more than we need a loader?
no,
Because the loader we have is okay.
we need to replace the loader.
I thought we were gonna keep the loader and use it.
Yes,
Me too.
but I need a new loader.
But we don't have two
I
now.
need a new loader more than I need a new mower truck.
Okay,
It's higher priority.
Yes,
okay.
so then I would say, let's focus on the loader and the grader. And then take that extra, whatever we got budgeted, and look
Put it in
at,
the rock.
put it towards rock. You know, try to save that from being,
okay. Yeah, I can
and then Nick.
turn the equipment budget into those 2 items
Yep,
and then put whatever from 200,000 up into the roads
It's
category.
about what you need, I think, because you're what it used to be. It was what it was a couple of years ago.
You know, there was, remember the COVID money thing?
yeah,
That, there was a couple $100,000 worth of rock
Yeah,
in one of those years.
210,000, you haven't used it all yet.
That's ARPA, yeah. That's
You haven't
ARPA,
used it.
not all
and we might be able to come dress some roads up with that, other roads too here and what's left. We need to look at what's left in that money. And any bridges you can't get funding for, like that one, I know, but whatever other bridges we can't get funding for any other way. I don't know. I was looking at that funds held thing, it's just 378,000 or something in there. Wherever that is. In ARPA, where's that? I won't be able to find it very easy here. I was just looking at it, the balance.
One of that is open for. Obligated.
I need to see it. We need to put that together. What was voted on in meetings to be spent? And see what's left. Cause that might help some of these line items here in the roads budget. But there was like 378,000 or something.
I know, I got one more thing for you. This was part of the packet, and I know I'm kind of dabbling with the third rail here, but I got a little bit more money from the auditor transfers. So here's on the revenue changes for FY 25. The road use tax fund, it increased $110,000. And then the transfer of jurisdiction money and the time 21 money has gone up very little. The local option sales taxes you transfer me, it stayed the same in 10 years that I've been here. It was not buying anymore. The same with the RVM. And so the rural basic transfer increased $34,700. Thank you. Now, if you want to make a real difference, you go to the next page.
I gotta find this, hang on.
Next page, we talk about levy and max. We don't levy max here in Page County. We haven't for a long time, but I always ask, never have,
Never have,
never have.
never have.
But our neighbors to the east do.
I don't know what engineers are doing about it.
Anyway, we're, if we was to levy max, which is 3 3/8 cents a thousand from rural basic, and then 16 7/8 cents on rural basic or general basic, we could, bring in more money to the the road department. And it's about to the tune of $400,000. Now that's tax money. So that involves political capital,
Mhm.
I do, I'm in a meeting right now, Raymond, can I bring you back?
but,
Okay.
The sad thing is, it doesn't do that much. It does something, but it don't do
Okay.
much.
Okay, we'll do it.
Well, and
Thank
then
you.
you run into this year.
It'll be.
right, and there's this new law
Sorry.
that
House changes.
doesn't even permit us to do that. I mean, we can't levy max, right?
Doesn't let you do it.
It doesn't levy.
Your levy rate comes, it's not like you can adjust your levy. Like this would be probably one of the worst years to consider something like this, because your general and your rural are not held by your House Bill 718.
But I ask for it every year anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Doesn't hurt to ask. It's, yeah.
because if I don't ask, then it sure won't.
They've asked.
And if I ask, it won't happen anyway.
Past too, but. it
That's
didn't.
right. Right.
Yeah. Good thought.
Well,
Yeah, I think we just take care of the equipment stuff.
yeah. And we,
So are you,
we got bounce back that new equipment line to 640. And then,
How much you wanna put all
I mean-
that to 220,000?
I think he's gonna have to
200,000.
put that up there in the roads, wherever that line is. Yeah, find it here,
if you wanted to do equipment from 860 to
640, but then he needs, I can't find the place.
road, 20,007,11,
Yeah, that one,
increase to.
220 up, let's take it out. So that, yeah,
And that's it, correct?
yeah, just moving it around.
That's only 16. Oh, yeah.
It's on that page 4, the second category there.
So you want to make that $1,238,500.
I think so. Which will be about where it was, what we used in 23. And we're gonna be past that in 24, I think. Cause you're already at,
That, those are the only changes, correct?
I think so. And, hopefully we won't have to spend all the snow and ice money, I hope. I don't. So in your equipment though, this is your top priorities. That's what everybody thinks is top priority. Okay, well. If we shoot for 2 of those. Okay,
Yeah, thank you. What time is our next meeting, at 3?
that's a 3. On the weed,
Do you have a,
Got weed yet too.
do you have, where does the training money? You know, last year we did that training. Yeah. Where did we get that money for, out of?
Probably over there and then. Or, everything was laid around, it would have been in road. Not either.
Do we have that built in again, maybe to do again?
To do training again?
Yeah, I would like to see it every year,
Why?
cause they need it. Does your phone ring? My phone rings off the wall about roads every day. And it's not that they're, I mean, it's more of just keeping their skills fresh. I mean, I do training every day, my job, or every year, I have to do it again and again and again.
and the,
So to keep your skills up, but if they got something out of it, which I thought you said they
the
did.
main thing I hear all the time is crown and road. They want, so that water doesn't run down the center of the road or or with a pile that runs down the road where the pile's keeping it from
It's
getting to
more
the
of an
ditch.
investment into our team, or into the team,
If they do it,
I feel like.
Jeff Sherlock needs to be out there to take that training also.
Which one is he?
He's
He's
the
the road
former, he's the
superintendent.
And he
superintendent.
wasn't out there last.
He was
time?
not there.
How come?
I
That's
was
not,
there.
that's not my choice.
I was there.
You went to the training?
I was watching the guys. I did good on watching.
Was you there, JD?
Go by.
That's what we need to have
Did you say I drove by?
the, well, the superintendents and they should be there, I agree,
Sherlock
definitely.
should be there.
Cause then they can,
Because Sherlock is the one telling them.
he's
how to
training
do the
them,
road.
so they
Yeah.
might be having a,
I agree. I didn't know that he
Even-
wasn't taking.
Even
part.
though,
I thought everybody on the team was.
even though some of those guys, a couple of the guys have been there a long time and they know what they're doing. And then they get told to do something different.
Right, no,
So-
yeah, and I'm not trying to put blame, I'm just wanting us to be the best of what.
Well, I'm not sure if I would do it every year, maybe.
I don't think I would, because I think that's a waste of a week's time.
you also could take the guy who's training everybody. You could take the guy who's telling everybody, if that's Jeff. And
Maybe-
send them to get pointers to give all the guys, because
Yeah, maybe,
I worked on combines my whole life and I go to combine clinics every year and they give me an idea I haven't thought of, so it doesn't mean nobody knows everything. But maybe we have, if there's anything that could help, any pointers, any tricks,
I just
teach
want,
one guy and then have him tell everybody. Too, you
and
know,
maybe that's just the way it is, the roads are always an issue, and,
Yes, that is.
I mean, it just.
You're right, that is.
I just, that's the biggest, complaint that I hear about, and,
Because we touch the most people.
yeah,
Not everybody uses the sheriff's services, and that's good.
right, no, I understand that, it's just. Yeah, so.
well, this
Which is why you
spring,
should get the most money.
And not everybody lives in the country, so yes.
when it gets, the roads get soft and nasty this spring, that applying rock at a rate that helps and then leaving it there where it needs to go is gonna be the biggest thing. When we do the farm to market big rock hauls, I know it's per trucking to get people doing it and doing it all, you put on so much when they do that. If there was any way to break that up, or, how many tons per mile do we do in that? We do the 300 tons per mile.
Not a whole lot.
Well, in the past, when I've seen these hauls and I go drive around out there, it is like a rock everywhere. And then, so everybody's like, there's too much rock, it's all shook everywhere and bladed, then they come bladed and go blade all, it's like, boy, if we could break that up. But when you do that, you have other people truck it, you have big bids to go truck all this rock. If we break it up in halves, you got twice the trucking. To get it out there, basically. Is there any thought to doing so much in that haul and leaving some back that we can go back and spot with more than doing that? Is there any thinking on that? Cause it is, every time they do this, I get phone calls and I go drive out there and there is rock deep everywhere. And then after a while, that's all bladed off and everybody's upset they got no rock. Like I like putting rock on my driveway in spurts, not all at once. Is there any ideas there you can think to try to spread that major rock haul out efficiently?
That's certainly not a method
Certainly not what.
not the method that they use.
Yeah.
No, you wait, when this happens, it'll be a bunch. Those roads will have a ton of rock on them, and then a little while later, it will, I don't know, it seems like it's not, like when we took the dirt roads out, I did it in spurts, put some on,
2 seconds.
let it press it in, then come back and do it again a little more, and just, so it doesn't just make this pile, everybody has big,
What?
washboards everywhere at every intersection, and I don't know how to get that put on in a way somehow that would be more efficient and make this rock last longer, or have it when we need it, when it's real muddy, another time to go out and put on. I don't know. I need the magic bullet here, but that's gonna be a big rock haul, and then we'll move all this rock there. Where are all those, the main focus of that? Is it everywhere? Where's this spring's main focus?
More on the eastern half.
Eastern half, farm to market?
I know 110 has it up in the northwest.
Yeah.
That's one of them. It's not in the east. But as I remember the map,
It's mostly a bunch over there this year. Oh, our main phone calls are that.
Yeah.
I mean, the roads being soft and crown and having rock when they need it. So, what the? Okay, well, we adjusted those lines. Are you good with that? Look good to you?
can deal with that.
Now the weed budget. What number is
All the
that?
same.
Is it all the same? I wanted,
Nothing changed.
what number is that? No,
1.4, right?
24? Have we actually did anything with the weed? Every year we talk about this, has there been anything done with the weed?
We actually have to do, we have to have a weed committee.
Right, that's what every year is the same question, I'm trying to.
No. I tried to get a weed commissioner from within the crew and I can't.
Nobody else.
Nobody wants to do that.
They want more money. I know.
They want more money for the extra work of it, or? Hmm,
So somebody was telling me that the spray guy gets $30 an hour. My guy ain't making $30. I don't know if that's true or not.
this is to go around and spray thistles, basically, is what they're,
Brush.
trees, brush, yeah, which we need, this one, and we tax for this. Isn't this its own?
We have to go out for a certain notice.
In 22, the wage was 24.38.
That was based on. Per day, a
Yeah.
portion of his wage, he
Right,
just got one flat wage, but the portion of his wage was paid.
yeah, the $2,500.
What is it, 26,000?
Well, I don't know, I have a question, I have a question.
No, it's not being spent right now, it's supposed to be
So we need.
half a year. So what, I mean,
So when I contracted, not this year,
we spent a lot of money when they went out and did that, to contract that,
did some contract spray,
yeah,
not in 23.
right, it's the year before.
Yeah.
What's you spend there? It was, if I remember,
We spent
25,000, looks like in 2021. And then,
and we have the pickup, is there still pickup with sprayer set up, or what is the deal, or just the thing that?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was, so back in, when Rick Daly was here, a portion of his wage went
Went to,
basically reimbursed the roads back for the services. Just like, part of it was budgeted on our wage. So if you look at that, anything that the 10,300 is a transfer.
So you tried to get somebody to go through the half season to do this, basically, to come off of another job in secondary roads and take this one?
You know, and he can, when I tried to hire. I hired a kid, he didn't have a license, so he was gonna try to get a license, he never got a license, so.
Couldn't do it.
That. You know, he can spray when it's time to spray it, and then he can help out secondary roads.
Right. So there's nobody right now like spraying just trees in the,
It's a class option for us, guys.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I got a guy that has a spray license.
yeah, anybody can take it, I've taken
So,
it.
willing to take the course?
He said no.
To do it.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
I've offered him operator wages and a 2,500 stipend, and I can't encourage anybody to do it. They want more money. And that's.
is there any way of making it like part of the job description for your secondary roads guys? They have to have it?
Well, yeah,
Employees, did you have it that they have to get the certification?
They have that.
is it,
They need to have interest.
well, if they want a job, it'd be interested in it.
Yeah,
I mean-
you paid, they'll be interested.
But I mean, going around on these they're right, not too far from my house in that farm, there. There's brush all in the right of way that I think a few years ago they got rid of, I don't know how long ago, but now it's all back.
Right.
And it needs, really, the most practical thing to do, digging it all out would be, that little smaller brush would have been to spray it in the fall and kill it all, and then come get rid of it. But we gotta have somebody in the right of way working on it. Huh?
I need to hire somebody and I haven't got anybody hired. I used to think I could get some retired farmer that would not work all the time, just.
Come in the summer season. Just to do that job.
Hired a seasoned guy to mow once. That wasn't as effective as I thought. But
So you're what, so, and I don't so we can, as a county, we can spray tree killer in the right of way.
Yeah.
Cause you have some liability there, you gotta be careful, you don't get it
Yeah,
out in the field and killer beans or something.
using proper technique.
But we can go, and then all the thistles and all that stuff, go work on. And we have, what equipment do we need to make that happen? I've not,
We have a truck with a spray rig.
and where does this sit, most in the shed to sit there, does it still run? How long's it been since it's been used?
5, 7 years ago?
No. It's been here since I've been here.
But it's
59.
got a grant.
It's a lot.
But there is I mean, is it running, everything, I mean, a guy have to get everything working, but we just need somebody to sit in it. In the spray season, go out and work for a few months. And the grader guys can tell you where all the problems are and give him a map of where he needs to go. Well, I don't know, so what do you need? You need a little more money to get somebody hired to do this, or what? What is to make this, because every year we talk, since I've been on this board, we talk about this, nothing ever happens.
Posted it and.
Isn't it on the website? I think it's still on the website, isn't it?
Do they know, like, they can, I guess what I'm trying to say, is, do they know they can still keep doing their, like, current role, like, they don't have to change that?
You mean my in-house guy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they still don't have to?
don't have money to shoot.
So they're gonna, what's the difference? If they get their wage you're getting right now and just go run the sprayer today versus going and doing something.
Great, not everybody has a sprayer.
Because you, like.
He's either running a grader or a sprayer, right?
They gotta get a license though. Nobody has a license right now.
I got one guy with a license. Yeah,
He's a mechanic?
Well, he's from farm, so most farmers go out and get it themselves. I've got one. So
I said the cost.
I don't think it hardly, yes, I'm obviously the weed commissioner. I don't think it really
and, well,
costs really anything to get it.
he
No,
went past that.
Okay.
you just go sit through their training and then you take a test. That's not. Yeah, it's short. I don't, unless there's something more to it than I don't understand. I mean, I have the farmer one. Is there something special to do this?
Well, it takes certain.
To be an operator, like there is a higher level that does, my brother has that is a bigger, to run great big sprayer, commercial, yeah. Is that what they need? Or do they just need there might be more to it than,
What?
They got a send letter,
They just need the ag extension class, right?
yeah, and then they
Right,
send letters to those.
I have a kid that
On our.
every year we talk about this and I sure think somehow. I don't know if I get calls on this, brush and weeds, and I think it's counterproductive, all this brush growing in the right of ways everywhere, then we gotta go deal with it. So, and it costs more to deal with it later in the winter when they're out there cutting brush and getting hurt and everything else. To drive by and spray something doesn't take much fuel. You know, you're not burning big diesel to do that. It's just being organized and being ready the right day to go do it, so. So what, maybe you need to, maybe if you could tell us what you need to make this possible. I mean, an incentive, some sort, or what?
2,500, you got 3,500?
I don't know. What's the incentive to encourage somebody?
Did you break it?
Is that the old one or the new one? If there's something to encourage somebody to go take the test. Or bring a farmer in that wants to do this, or somebody who has just to do some summertime spraying or something.
Just wanted to do some-
Maybe. I mean, is 3,500 to take on that role gonna, I mean, I don't know. Because currently we're not getting any of it done. Really, unless we hire a third party to come in. And if we have the truck and we have the sprayer,
Is there
Yeah.
some documents that we can share with or borrow? Or Canada?
I haven't tried.
I just thought it weird, we had somebody. Cause how many hours does it take?
for a certain, it's really time specific when you can do it. You gotta do it the right time. So those month or two or whatever, you could spray brush and then thistles about a little earlier than that. That's when somebody's gotta be there ready to do it when the weather's right. But then it'd be nice if they go work with, if it's raining or something, they go do something else. I don't know, we need to how to make this happen. So you've said your normal salary plus if you'll take this on and just work here and get the test passed, you get a $2,500 stipend or something for having a certificate. And then you work here for a few months versus here, is what you've encouraged them with.
That was my plan. I
Well,
couldn't get anybody to do that. I mean, I asked the blade guy who had sprayer experience.
right,
You'd have to get some more endorsements on the sprayer license. But he didn't want to drive from his house to Florinda. It was gonna cost a lot of money. And the $2,500 didn't pencil out.
wasn't enough to do it. If we brought in a whole nother employee to do this, they wouldn't have to be a full-time employee benefits, or they just be a seasonal
We used to have.
employee that you just pay a decent hourly wage because they have no benefits and they have a certificate. And that's where you can bring in some farmer or somebody who wants to do this during the summer, basically.
That was my.
So what could we pay them if we want to do that this summer? We have 26,000, is that what we have sitting here? In your budget for it? So I mean, we could either go looking for somebody also, not just in who we have. And just have them work by the hour and, kind of calculate that into. Because without benefits or anything, you could pay a pretty decent hourly wage and just have so many hours, somebody's out spraying. With this 26,000, with our equipment. So what would they have to have? They have to have spray license. And what, do you have to have CDL to run the county equipment, CDL? Come do that.
Did we hire a new laborer driver in December?
Yeah. Well, no,
Uh,
in January,
oh, okay.
the,
It's still on the website. And so is the help wanted for a weed commissioner.
I don't know.
Maybe we should think about how to advertise this, a little revamp our advertising, whether it's in-house or whatever, part-time, and try again. I just want to try. Because we have money in the budget for spray and brush and thistles.
Yeah, I know my guys are cutting trees are frustrated because they're growing again more than cut.
Yeah, and then this is really counterproductive. And it costs a lot of money to do that. Get one, I'm real frustrated and say, take your chemical test and you can be the guy to go kill these things, because it does work. Well, maybe try to put together some kind of an ad or some kind of a job description again. I know you've already done this, but something new. And talk to us and see what we can do. Cause it's, in a few months we'll be there. Okay, well, other than that, that's all we can do is, we got money sitting here, but we need to find somebody to do it.
Yep.
Okay. I guess we'll take a break and come back and, is that it?
We do one other thing. Can we kind of discuss what you want to do with wages so that we can get a clearer picture? Melissa can start making changes or whatever. Do you have any ideas?
Did you have a dollar amount of how many dollars is it, did your, a ballpark? Can we see what would it be for the, IPers and the salary of 7.5% across this whole roughly? I mean, just ballpark, you don't have to be exact.
And I can't remember anything for this year, but I have to finish this year before I can. Total was about 5,333,000 approximately,
5 million what?
333,000.
That's all the wages,
That's the least I got.
all that stuff, okay. And
Total.
Wages, IFRS,
that's 5 million, I didn't hear again, 330,000, what'd you say? Okay,
wages and IFRS and what else?
Like,
taxes,
everything like.
okay, and then, can you see this year the way it sits right now in this budget, or,
I can't run it, it has to be paid out.
oh. Well, if we jump, we know last year was 3.85,
Generated $5,538,000, but that's an estimate, of course, because if somebody dropped off or something changed, I would estimate.
and the bigger the number, the bigger the percent's gonna grow too. So if we're
Right.
7.5 on our new number is gonna be even bigger.
Yeah.
So,
I'm guessing you're looking at probably base estimating wise, you're looking probably between, I would say roughly 375 or 400-ish. That total.
this would be the biggest increase ever that I know of. I mean, I've seen a 4. Seen 3. Okay. Basically 400,000, yes,
$400,000 increase.
in the budget line. Somewhere,
Total. But-
somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's an approximate, so,
No.
I mean, because I can't pull.
I did. Right at the end, right before lunch, so my thought was, and I told, Judy and Melissa this as well, was that I originally thought that freezing the elected officials and giving hourly people raises up and using and doing it that way, but that also then impacts the deputies because they're tied to the elected officials. So I don't think that's gonna work. Cause I don't wanna hurt the deputies, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody anyway, but I don't want their wages, cause they're still on the hourly, correct? The deputies aren't.
Their salary.
Well, we can put money,
So-
make sure the budget has the money to do that, pick numbers the way, if you want to zero all electeds, then zero them.
I will
We're at
say
0 right now,
that the
so,
budget will hold a raise
But we're
though.
not impacting.
and then we can JD salary, we
A
can,
lot of people.
well, if we go below, everybody that's not elected, we can choose to do what we want, we can pick like we do with the jailers, we can, or I mean, not the jailers, the
But
Now
they're.
you're gonna hit the deputy.
dispatch.
That's what I was trying to, like the deputies in the offices.
The biggest people right now that are in the money crunch would be your people who aren't. And right now, currently, corn is $4 a bushel. We just passed the jail. I talked to several people who've been talking about wages and money, and the ag economy right now is terrible. It's not good. Interest is high, corn is low. I think most all the electeds are, one, it's a servant job anyway, and they're being paid pretty fairly. Your people, and JD also, he would be another one, I think we zero.
But what I'm saying.
The management,
But what I'm saying is, look, so what I'm
we
saying
can,
is if you do that, though, you impact, because you have to do it for the deputies.
So you're basically gonna punish,
You're basically then gonna punish your auditor's office, your treasurer's office, your recorder's office. More so than probably any
I'd
other
say
department.
any managers, anybody that's managers, like we're top level is who I think could probably
And your
take
attorney,
turning
Why do
down.
you think,
And your
why
sheriff.
do you think that they're?
Because inflation is affecting the people at the bottom. People making 40,000, that's who,
It affects everybody, Jacob. Groceries are the same price for
Yeah.
everybody. Utilities are the same price for everybody. It
I don't
doesn't make
see,
any
I don't see a
difference.
wage disparity at the top. I don't see everybody struggling. I don't see I don't think they're being underpaid at the top. I think our sheriff's being paid plenty. I think the attorney's being paid plenty. I think all the managers being paid plenty. So it would also free up dollars out of this budget. And we could free up, I have to do the math. If we just did that, we took JD at zero. I don't know who all our managers are.
Freeing up the money for.
One, we might be able to lower the levy a little bit, if we can take a couple $100,000 out of this. Even if we give raises, a decent raise to the people at the low, all the low people, the people that are at not the managers, and we're taking zero. We put everybody at a zero, that's the leaders. And then put the people on the workers,
And you're saying that the people in the elected officials' offices are not workers?
No, I'm saying that I think that's not where our wage disparity, was that the right word? That's not our big problem. Our biggest problem with wages, just like with the dispatch, the starting wage is our problem. Summer wasn't upset, but I mean, we need to keep it incrementally the same.
And you realize
So-
that people in the elected officials' offices are the ones who bring the money in, keep the money flowing in the county, pay the bills, pay the payroll,
Yeah,
collect all the money, do all the services for the people.
right now, most all those offices, I don't have it right in front of me, it's been over, are all with benefits over $100,000 a year. I mean,
Oh, I don't think so.
well, what would it be? You wanna add it up? What's
It's
benefits?
not gonna be 100,000.
70-some thousand plus 30-some thousand would be what would it be? What's the audit?
I mean, you're gonna have some of your other departments then as well. I mean, some of your other departments as well make, I mean, you're like with dispatch and things like that. Some of your employees that have been there for a while also make a good wage too. So I mean,
So you're
What's
gonna-
our
you're-
elected?
You're gonna punish everybody just because you think they make too much money.
No, I think that we're trying to save tax dollars here and the people that are in the $100,000 a year. Your normal worker in Page County out here with a job of man is not.
so you're
They're
gonna
hurt,
save $100,000 or $200,000 and potentially and risk that a lot of good employees, then it will significantly impact morale.
Impact morale, definitely.
What are we at here?
It
We're
will
at,
also hurt them because of the prices that are going up. That they have
But
to
the
pay,
tax-
just like the little guy.
well, the taxpayer right now is dealing with all these prices too, and we're asking for all our money.
Yeah,
Our money all comes from the taxpayer.
Everybody.
we'll say just. So I have two jobs. Still not enough. Cause I mean, just everything is so expensive. Every insurance went up, car insurance went up, property insurance went up.
Everything
taxes
went
went
up.
And so it doesn't really matter how many jobs I have, it's still all going up. Now,
Right.
is 7.5 the right number? I don't know. You know, you've done a good job of getting it to where it fit for the budget. Is that, something that I just,
So what, I mean, right now,
The way
our,
things are going right now, we may have more of an issue next year, so maybe now is the time to do this.
right,
I just can't, most of the taxes are paid by the ag landowner in Page County. They're paying the tax big time, and this is, we cannot, 7.5% raise whenever corn and beans is down 40%.
But the departments in you're penalizing aren't paid through your rural services fund, the majority of.
As a whole, the taxpayer that's coming in to pay the taxes for the county, which we sit here and represent, is, I do not want a 7.5% raise across the board. When
No,
everybody's taking, that money has to come from somewhere, it has to come from the taxpayer. Every
right,
dime
but
of
what
it.
I'm saying is you're penalizing the departments that aren't even paid through.
I
like,
don't
your
think
rural
giving-
services
I don't
fund
think
is
giving a
assessed
depart-
Against your rural taxpayers.
Giving a department head, I'm trying, is your salary set, would it be 77,000, is that what it is? It's 71,000 now, I'm trying to find the right line. Plus, I don't know, I mean, you guys are all about the same, all the different department heads. 71,630, was that last year's? Is that right? Line number 1, is that the right one I'm looking at? of the auditor's budget.
Yes, all of
And
us
then-
are paid a little over that, about 70,000, little.
So then, if you take that plus I did it a year or two ago, it's 35,000 or so, time you put all the benefits together, so it's a little over 100,000, 105,000 would be what the county's paying for our elected officials that work in the courthouse. I do not think that's a poor wage or being,
Don't be condescending.
what do you mean constant? I'm saying, I don't think that's a bad wage to pay somebody for doing that. Lots of years, it was nowhere near that. I'm guessing when you were here, it was nowhere near that. Probably
So
wasn't even
with
half that.
the
I'd say so.
assessor and all of those other departments, are you, I mean, like, when you sit on that board, are you planning then to?
Yeah, I will not pitch a 7.5% or 20% for the management. No, I don't think so.
20%, 50%, we're not talking 20%.
No, I'm saying they have whatever they come up with. I'm saying whatever they come up with. I won't, no, I think that's a fair wage here. So, but I think some things like we talked about with the dispatchers, $17 an hour, that's what, about $34,000 a year, 40-hour week-ish. So you see our neighbors are more. That's an hourly job, that it needed adjusted. So
And that's-
even if it's 10%,
That's the other thing, the elected officials, they don't just work 40 hours a week.
well,
Their
there's
salary,
no
if they work more.
doesn't mean
But you have
nobody
some
can
of
make
your-
them work
you
more.
have some
They
of your
could work.
dispatchers that still make over 50, I mean, like $55,000 or $57,000 because they've been there for a while. So
Hmm.
not every single you keep referencing this 1750, but there's only,
That's a beginning wage.
yeah, that's a
Right.
beginning wage. and
It
you-
needed-
You
it
don't
needed
have anybody
adjusted.
currently right now drawing that.
Just that is somewhere I see that we need an adjustment, so. I don't know, I think that we have. Elected people run for office, we ran for office, we do as a service, I think that the pay is fair. I think 105,000 or so in Clarinda, Iowa, to be a department head in the courthouse is more than enough, in my opinion. So I think we take a year doing all this, when the taxpayers happen to pay higher taxes anyway, due to the jail and everything else coming.
That was a voted levy.
I know, but I think we need to be
That's the
easy on this
voted-
budget,
that was the
and
voters' choice.
if there is,
It
But
was
you
not
have to
our
remember-
decision, it was the voters' decision.
And you also need to remember that by reducing, I mean, things in the general fund, you have to stay at that 3, so you're still gonna levy the same dollars. Because you can't reduce your general fund levy, because if you do, then you can't levy in general supplemental, and that's,
Yeah.
you couldn't afford it, you couldn't put that in your general fund, you
You
don't
can't
have
put
that money.
everything from general sub back in general basic, there's no way.
whatever the rules are there, if we could save a few 100,000, then we put it, however we have to do it, I have to understand all the rules. I put it in the hard assets, hard things we can see, touch, roads, whatever, bridges, something that's improvement for, like, if we can't.
So you wanna take all the general fund money and give it to secondary road?
Yeah, that
Say
that
all,
doesn't
I
even
said-
work, I mean, you're talking
All
You're
I'm
talking bridges and roads for the
Let's-
rural people that don't
We
live in the.
free what
cities.
money we can free up. We just looked at several budgets and tried to find places we could change things. This is the biggest thing we have is insurance and wages. That's,
You know,
that's
if you
big.
look- if you look at the elected officials, you look at the budgets that have come in today, how many of those went up other than the wages? None of them.
It was all
They
wages.
kept it all down.
And I have a lot of phone calls if we're paying more taxes and getting less services, because wages, it's all
Why are
wages.
you getting less services? What do you mean?
You're not doing, we didn't hire two of one office. They're doing the same job and the wages are getting higher.
There's no
There's
There's
department,
nobody that's hiring you.
the elect,
You're
They're
spending more
doing
money.
more and more in the offices, Jacob, because the state keeps putting more and more on every single one of them.
Do you think today that the county is doing more infrastructure work with roads and all that, any of these things than it was 20 years ago? No, we're spending more and getting less is what because wages are higher. Wages keep going up,
Well, so does material.
Right.
Material,
Everything
right.
else.
That stuff goes up.
but labor, you asked JD, labor's our big problem. Labor. So
Right, I get that.
I think 7.5% is way too much. I'm fine with just freezing it. We freeze JD, freeze the managers,
No,
freeze ourselves.
no.
so you're gonna
I just
freeze,
don't wanna freeze and then. hurt the
No.
balance.
I think anybody that's not a manager, I think we can adjust the budget just like we did
Are you
today.
gonna cut your salary?
We can, sure, I'm good with that. Let's cut it.
You
They cut it
can't-
last
you
year,
can't-
so.
You
Cut it down to
can't adjust the
20,000.
deputies' wages then if
Doesn't
you
bother
raise
me.
the elected.
You want to?
Doesn't bother me.
I know, we're doing this as a service. And I hope the other elected people have the same service mind for this. They're getting paid 105,000.
They're working 40 hours a week or more. We're not working that.
We work several hours.
I know,
I mean,
we don't work 40 hours a week.
I don't know how many hours spent thinking and working on this
Yeah,
is a lot.
And you
So,
don't have the headaches of the legislature making changes and the laws changing and adding more and more.
everybody has different battles,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Every time the legislature meets, more and more comes down on the county. More jobs come to the county, more jobs, election changes, treasurer's changes, motor vehicle changes, everything changes. And they have to accept more responsibility. And then you're gonna penalize them and take them to zero? That's crazy. Totally.
I know it's happened before. And
It's
paid
been
1%
years.
raise. What was the most common raise given when you were here, Judy?
4 to 5% normally.
When I talked to other, they said 1 to 2 was pretty normal. So,
3%, 3.5%, 3.75%, 4%, 4%, 5%.
What if we, split this to 3.5?
How about 5?
I still think it's too much. We're the only people sitting here for the taxpayer. That's it. This is it. This, the three of us here is it. Everybody else just more. Why not 20%? So we represent the taxpayer.
And I don't think, like, if you're getting into this as an elected official and you're doing it for the money, then you're in it for the wrong reason.
And I don't think people are doing it for the money, but they still deserve a raise to show appreciation and to consider what their jobs really are. And the responsibility that they have to the taxpayer and to the state of Iowa and to Page County and to everybody else. Because if you didn't have those people here in these jobs, Page County wouldn't be here.
Well, I guess if it's, I'd like to ask, is $105,000 out of the county, if that's the number, it's somewhere in that ballpark, is that enough? Because tell all the taxpayers that's not enough. I'd like to hear that. If it's not, because I mean, tell the taxpayer that. If you don't think it's enough, tell them you want more. I'm sitting here, a farmer that's sitting here just like we are, we're part-time. So I'm here to represent the taxpayer. And I think 105,000 in ballpark is enough for a manager in the courthouse of anything. So, and I don't think there needs to be a dollar more. What, 70-some thousand, a little over 70,000 and plus 30-some thousand in benefits. That's retirement and health, big time health insurance. So,
Keep in mind too, that a lot of your elected officials are also have specific training for their jobs, or most of them do at this point in time. So like your attorney has to have a law degree to be able to do that. So with that, I mean, there's a wage that goes with someone getting an education and doing things. Like our sheriff has to go through certified law enforcement training to, like, Tom off the street can't walk in and be the sheriff immediately. So there's training they go through.
I think basically anyone, and the sheriff, I think anybody can be elected sheriff. I mean, it's an elected office. I don't think you have to have a law, anything to be elected sheriff. Anybody, and you can just be elected. If people put you in there, they can put you in there as sheriff. Now to be hired as deputy, you have to have training, but I think when the people elect you, it's different. But you don't have to be
I don't think that's true, Jacob.
But regardless, is it worth 105,000? Ballpark, over $100,000 to be a manager of an office in the courthouse.
When you,
The elected people need to say to the taxpayer, it's not enough. If they say it's not enough, we'll ask for more money, I guess, but
when you
I
handle
think it's-
millions and millions of dollars through all of the programs, that's a big responsibility.
I would go along with,
It's not something that just anybody can do.
some kind of, we can do dollar amount or 3 or 4% for everybody that's below below the management level.
So where do you draw that line?
We'd have to look at, that's why I need a list of who everybody is and see where it is so we can draw that line. I don't know. I'd have to see all the different. That's why I've been asking for everybody's what they make and where they are.
Then
You're just gonna
judging-
base
then you're
this on
judging by the
salary.
People, you're
But no.
judging by who they are, not what they're.
Basically, the managers that are making the
Yeah,
big salaries, six-figure salaries with benefits, I don't think they need a raise this year.
I don't think you, I don't.
I think you probably need
names.
to talk to legal counsel and make sure that you're not in some
We pick a
way-
percentage then. We say we can zero everybody that's elected, and we can, JD's up to us. We can zero him, zero whoever, and then we can pick everybody else, we pick a percentage like we do every year.
I would go for 4%.
Or be the biggest raise that I've ever been a part of. I didn't think I voted for that last time.
What'd you have the year before? But before I got on, because last year we did 3.8.
I think they did 4. I don't remember though,
Check back.
something like that.
In 21, it was 4.
There's been back-to-back pretty good raises. Last year was basically 4. But again, 4% to somebody that's making $100,000 a year is different than 4% to somebody making 40,000.
4% for somebody that makes that has a big responsibility, Jacob.
And they're getting paid a big wage. right now.
2.5% is like a 2,500. Some, like Melissa's,
3.5%.
three, yeah, if they did 3.5,
I would go for 3.5.
it's $2,507. If you did 3.5,
For everybody,
yeah,
everybody.
well, yeah, I just did that times what hers was.
Let's see, we did more than that for the dispatch because they're different.
Well,
animals.
they're different.
They're different.
So who's not different? Because we can tap into some of these things that are lower. This weed deal, we might have to adjust that a little bit.
Everybody that we put 7.5% down for, except the dispatchers, I would go for 3.5% if you would,
How about, we don't have to put the electeds with everybody else. Why do they have to be
Yes, you
together?
do.
You don't, no, not with all the,
Yes,
Stop.
because otherwise you take away from everybody.
we took
You're
our salary
penalizing-
down
you're
last year. We're,
penalizing Elected officials. Why are you penalizing elected officials?
penalizing, it is not a penalty to.
If you take them to 0, that's not
They're not
penalizing.
saying they don't get paid, they're saying they don't get a raise.
You
they
can't
get the
do
same
that,
salary.
otherwise you penalize the deputies.
So the hourly people under them, it sounds like if you do,
If there's money in the budget
Most
for the
of them are
deputies,
hourly people.
That is not true. There's a percentages they're held to. So,
because you, and this has been, and I had some other, when they deputize everybody, which Lyle was talking about, and that's what other counties talk to me about. That's so they can play this, always make sure that the budgets can go up and everybody gets paid go up, because the deputies are tied to the elected, which is a way to get more wages.
it is not a
When we
way
do
to get
budget.
more
It's a
wages,
way to reward people who are doing a good job.
because your deputies are the people that you
You
it-
depend on.
It,
depend on in a
it takes
situation.
it takes the,
So by
How-
not giving the electeds a raise, then their deputies do not get raises. And then if you're gonna give every other employee a raise except for your electeds, you're basically punishing specific departments just for being elected
Right.
and no other reason behind it. Besides, you just think electeds make too much money.
I do, I think they make plenty.
And I
I think
think
it's a
that's
fair
really-
wage. I think it's a fair wage, over $100,000 a year. To sit in the courthouse here is a fair wage. Is that not fair? That's just out of Carl's way over 100,000. The county,
He's adding everything together.
yeah, the county,
All of your benefits make you over $100,000.
yeah, the,
That's right, that's what I tried to say.
well, the taxpayer has to buy insurance, buy all these things. They do,
So
it's
do
part
we.
of their money. No,
We
it's
have
part
to
of your
buy
benefits.
insurance.
It's 100%.
The people who are on family pay for it.
We're talking about the actual elected person. I'm not going to the family. They're
The elected people, if they're on a family policy, have to pay for part of their insurance.
part of it, but well, that's even more money I'm not even talking about. All I'm talking about is 100% paid by the county. Dollars that are leaving the county,
No, it's
checkbook.
not paid 100% by the county.
the individual insurance is not paid by the
No.
county. Not their family, their own insurance. It is covered by the county. The check that is written by the county to pay the salary is
Just-
better than,
just the same.
That's a single.
I'm saying a person. Now you want to add more? Yeah, they subsidize, but the county spends even more money paying for 75% or whatever of their family. To the taxpayer, tell taxpayers, $100,000 is coming out. Over 100,000. Is it not enough?
You're totally unrealistic.
How's
You
it
have no
unrealistic?
clue how government even works.
How
Or
government
how
works.
people, you don't know what the people in this courthouse do.
It doesn't have anything to do with what you do.
Yes,
The
it does.
taxpayer is paying $100,000 a year.
You're paying a person for their work.
Yes,
For
and
their
I think that's a fair wage.
Do that.
That's a fair wage. That's what
No.
I'm saying.
It's not.
You don't think it's fair. So what is
No.
fair? 110, 20,000? 80,000
I still
plus
stick with-
35,000?
If you're gonna refuse everything, I still stick with 4%. If you're not gonna do 7.5.
No. No. Call 10 farmers right now and ask them how much they're making this year. It's pathetic. Ag is half of what it was,
So
so
you're not,
they pay the taxes. Everybody, the taxpayers.
not interested in,
I wanted the people that are probably in the need, they're,
Two of us are a majority. I don't care. Two of us are a majority.
I know,
the people on the bottom probably are in the biggest pinch from trying to have their salaries adjusted. Because of inflation. But passing a 7.5% across the board just adds to inflation because everybody's taxes go up that much more. We're just heaping more on the problem.
4%.
If we do 4% across the board, we can't help. There's places that need more help than others.
We
I
can
think.
do that
you could do that with the,
with the exceptions that we made for dispatchers this morning.
can we just?
And like your fund balance is good this year.
It may not be
What
next
other-
year.
Okay, so.
It'd be better.
As far as hourly, besides the dispatchers and dispatchers and jailers, which I think we've addressed.
Right, we've addressed that.
Okay. There are other places that you thought that we needed, that the hourly people,
Well, we look, we're having trouble hiring. You talked about the part-time people. We went round and round and round with some of these things, not having enough money, can't hire anybody. It's too low. That's where we need to look.
Good work, so you
Good work. Nobody's being penalized.
Yeah, they are. You wanna take the.
if they-
Zero.
They're not being paid zero. They're staying at where they are. I'm trying to free money up
When
to
you
use
don't
other
give
places.
someone a raise, you're taking away. You're making less. They're making less. Because
How,
expenses keep going up and up.
I'd like to see the number. What, say it's $400,000 we save. I mean, is that how close?
I would just say that by
If-
penalizing like us electeds, like I have 3 really good staff that I hate to see penalized just because they're tied to me. Like, I feel like that's completely unfair to them. I don't know how you guys feel, but I would say that from my perspective, I feel like that's a really hard pill for my 3 staff to swallow just because they fall under an elected official. That's basically the only reason then they're going to be punished. And because you feel like they make too much money,
I think it's
which I
fair,
don't feel like that's fair for you to make that decision. You have no idea what
a fair
every single
wage for the
employee
job performed. Is what I'm
has
saying.
in their life.
Fair wage for job performed.
and so I think that's what you're thinking is that it's just Melissa or just Brenda or just, that's gonna be affected by the zeroing out, right? Is that what you think?
Well, I think I don't see,
Big personalities are entering into this.
it's been across the board, and not that we don't have good people working here everywhere, but we have to make sure we're not just dumping money out.
We're not dumping money. We're keeping good people.
Yes, but we're paying a good wage. We're paying over $100,000 a year for each one of these positions.
You're not paying.
And we can look the exact numbers up if you want. It would be
Jacob,
over
we're
100,000.
talking about actual take-home pay, not benefits and everything else.
If we go, well, call it 70-some thousand, 71, 2,000, whatever.
I'm willing,
If we,
but
You're willing to what?
how do we do this in a way that can be for the managers to basically freeze or almost freeze and then bring the people up. If they're tied to you in percentage, every clerk is tied percentage. We can't,
Every
deputy, I mean, we can't
no,
pick a percent in these budgets and tell you have this much money for each one of those spots.
you don't understand.
Well, we can do it everywhere but in those few spots.
It's not few spots. You look at auditor, attorney, treasurer, recorder, sheriff.
The sheriff's only the chief deputy. And see, a few years ago, whenever we had the step, you weren't here, whenever they,
Lyle.
that's fine. Lyle,
70, most of them, 65 to 80,000. So if that's the case, when you don't want.
Which that is another department that we've had struggles to hire.
Except we're not right now, except in the deputies.
when the step increase went away,
Yeah,
which
we
we,
need a deputy.
Can we come to
The,
an agreement? So that Melissa can change the budget and get things moving.
I think 4% is too much.
3.5.
I think that's too much.
4%.
I don't know. And again, like other supervisors say, do a dollar amount because Carl making over $100,000 a year, 4% to him is more than somebody making 70. It's a big difference
That's
even
not
Carl
what
and
your
Melissa.
Not board recommended.
Right. So we have to do percents. That can hang people in the end because percents are not good for the guy on the bottom.
Well, I mean, that's too late for this year. because
If,
We gotta go with the comp. Now, next year, if we wanna sell the comp, we'd say, hey, go buy dollar ones.
I might go along with a 2%.
That's not,
And I don't want to do, I think the managers should get 0.
that's not enough. 4%. You have an,
I wish we could do it without having to be tied to everything.
I know. I don't think there's a way to do that.
no,
Unfortunately.
not by law.
So I mean.
4% is a big raise,
I'm still stuck at 3.5.
Okay, I'll take 3.5.
2.5.
I move that we take 3.5.
And this is not for everybody, because you're in JD and everything at that. It'll be every single person. I mean, we can't, we aren't bound by any law on that. See. Only thing we're bound by is on electeds.
Unfortunately, the way they have it set up is you can't, like, we can't look at each individual.
Nor should you.
No. As
Performance?
Talking about like.
We-
jobs.
You
This is-
shouldn't look at it individuals, not personalities.
Not personalities.
So we have
Not
performance,
personalities. Look at jobs.
Right, job performance.
performance of the job.
Yes.
What are we sitting here for if it doesn't matter?
And
What the
that's not up
performance
to
is.
you for job performance. That's up to the department head or the
But
elected
what-
official.
Well, somebody like JD is, he answers to us.
We get phone calls about roads and things.
He
like
does
that.
answer to us. That's not true.
JD
JD's,
does-
I'm not.
Right, JD does answer to us.
Yes.
So then how do we instill in our county engineer to do a better job? Or to hold people accountable, or, cause he's actually in charge of his people, right? And we're just kind of.
And in the past, the board has
I don't know
had
how to
JD
do
come
that
in. You do that. You just,
Financially.
we haven't in a couple of years.
You know,
but the board of supervisors has in the past, they have done an evaluation on JD. And then based on his evaluation, decided his wage. And they've set goals, they've done different things at different times. And then based on where he falls in those percentages, he's rewarded for that or loses money based if he doesn't do those
one of the
things.
problems is that we've said that, oh, we like everything to be the same across all the fields.
For years and years and years.
Well, it wasn't that way until.
What do you mean?
It's always been since I've been here, they
Percentage across.
pick a number and it's
Everybody
everywhere.
gets the same percent. Every
That's a
department.
fair way to do it,
Okay,
because otherwise, we used to have unions in some of the,
yeah,
and otherwise, then you've got dissension in between the
Okay.
departments.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to
then
Make
everybody's.
everybody, to make it fair.
Can I say something?
Yes,
I think just because you give it across the board for us, doesn't mean that our deputies all get that, because I have lowered mine before for not adequate performance. We can also increase, they're called what type pay change, that form we put. So just because you give
and across the board does not mean that every department head will give that, because we have the authority to increase or decrease our percentage, and I did it 2 years in a row, I changed mine lower. So I think you're taking something and saying that we automatically do it, but we have our own performance that we base ours on. Or you're giving us the option, but we don't have to.
Yes,
And I think all of us as elected do that, like, I don't think I don't think we all just say, oh, everybody gets this amount, we all evaluate our.
Evaluating people,
Yes.
yeah.
because yeah,
With the increase, we're able to go up to that, but we don't have to because somebody's not performing.
But then you wouldn't be the right percentage. How's your percentage correct then? You told me it has to be the same percentage, 90 and 80, how's that work?
They can't go over that, so you have deputies that are at the 80%, those would be I would say your higher performing deputies, that you're basically penalizing those deputies at the end of the day. So you're basically punishing the people who, I would say, as elected, hold the most value in, who feel do the best job for us, because that's why we pay them up to the wage we can.
But that's okay for you to do, but if we start talking about other employees in the counties whose budget we're in charge of, then it's terrible for us to look at that. If we wanna look at different wages,
Just saying.
they have to be the same, all has to be the same.
For no reason. Like at some point, we value our
No.
employees and we take a lot of pride in the work our offices do and what our staff do. And we feel like they should be rewarded for the hard work they put in.
Yeah,
And I feel like I have
The-
3 staff that do an amazing job. And just because you feel like I made too much, my staff made too much, we're not gonna reward them this year.
here,
But yeah, we're gonna, that's still hard for them to understand, when they're still going to the grocery store and paying the extra $50 every time, or they're still going to the gas and paying an extra $25 at the pump, they still have those expenses.
the reason is what is the reasonable amount paid for job performed? I mean,
I don't think for our deputies, and you get to decide that.
well, for elected people, we do. So we can zero it, and
That's why we have a compensation board that makes the recommendation based on where.
exactly, and the time I've been here, we've never taken their recommendation, ever. It's never happened. It's always half or whatever, or some percentage of that.
Now, you're taking that away from the compensation board too.
you're saying they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
I think it's,
you're nullifying any decision.
well, then sat here to look at this, and I think that's a fair wage for, now if we wanna go over $100,000 a year to work in this courthouse as a manager of an office is enough money.
I would just ask, how do you determine that's fair wage? I only know my own numbers. So, for example, Mills County, similar population, probably a similar caseload. They have a part-time attorney making $112 a year
In Mills County,
in Mills County.
Part-time.
Without, yes,
Yeah.
correct, without benefits. So,
see, right now, you're at about 140 or 50,000 with
Forget
benefits.
that, Jake.
No, I'm not gonna forget, I'm sitting here looking at the numbers.
it's, I think your issue is something over 100 concerns you.
I think,
I think you're gonna have trouble finding people that are gonna do this job in less than that.
and that could be, right now,
You know, those 7 years, to get paid 75,000 a year, 80,000 a year. What I'm saying is, trying to say is that you can't just pluck a number out of thin air and say that's a fair number for a fair job done. You have to look at what adjacent counties pay within the district. You have to have some comfort, right?
yeah, you're talking about attorneys,
Right.
and we had a part-time attorney before you came, is that right? Was he part-time before you came, Davison?
No,
He was full-time? And so you're at 100 and, I don't even know, 111 right now, plus benefits. I'd have to find your paper. I think it's, if it goes up, is it 111? With the 7%, I don't have it in front of me.
And so if you look at this population, I'm ranked 67, 66, 67, and we're 50th in the state, so we're right in the middle. So if you look at just that, and population is what controls our caseload and the volume of work we have to do the cases we deal with. So that really, I think, is about the only fair way I can do this. Because I don't bill by the hour, I don't have billable time, we don't do that sort of thing, we can't. the only number that I have available to, as a comparable, to give you an idea of what a fair wage is, what I did. All I can say on there.
So 103 or 11,000 plus benefits, you don't think it's a fair wage?
Not
Could you-
compared to other counties, no.
So you don't think it's fair? So I mean, that's, because you're elected too, you can tell the taxpayer, you don't think that's enough.
There's counties much smaller, maybe 118, 120.
Well, I think too, what Carl's trying to say is that he went to school and hasn't, you know, he has a background in
I understand.
education. He had to get to do this job too, so.
But again, we're elected people, so we have to answer the taxpayer. I call me all the time. So you gotta tell them. You are, and you're elected, so you gotta go out and tell the media it's not enough money. And let them all know to vote for you, this isn't enough money.
And we've been elected over and over and over again, right?
Yeah, so that's just, so I'm sitting here looking at this budget.
They have confidence in us and they would
Yeah.
like us to stay.
Just needs to be clear.
Survey does show that we are continuing to drop.
Yes.
I mean, everyone below and above us, I think I did 5 above me, 5 below me, and I think only 2 of those counties made more money than I think.
And several supervisors, we all sit in our little arenas, talk to me about this all the time, probably talk to you guys. There is leapfrog effect, bad. And we play the game where one county jumps at 4 or 5, whatever percent, then, oh no, now we're behind. We play the leapfrog. And there's gotta be a level of it going up. I understand that, but the leapfrog, as I said, everybody has a role. We're trying to do best we can to hold this back what we can and still have everybody do their jobs. But the leapfrog is very dangerous, and pretty soon we're places we can't believe we've got to on what we're spending. So I don't know. I think 7.5 is way too much. 4 is too much.
3.5.
3.5.
I move that we do 3.5%. Okay, wait.
I wouldn't do any.
Just say.
Oh, wait. Okay.
2.5,
No,
No,
3. I think every year.
we just need to. That's
And then
all.
I'm not against giving people who do need their salary adjustments, like we did this
Who are
morning.
you to judge whether somebody needs their salary?
By how hard we are having a time hiring people to get the job done. If we're having a hard time, we need to adjust, just like we did with the
And so
dispatch.
you're saying that.
If we
people
need
that
to
are
adjust-
higher up Don't need
If we're not,
a salary.
no, by need, I mean, the county needs the work done and we can't find somebody to
We
do it.
all
So
need the work done,
so
and that's
the-
why everybody's here.
if you offer payment for a service in the county and no one shows up, then you might have to offer a little more. If we've got people working,
All
It's
right,
showing up
so
to do the
in my
job.
Then you're
office,
gonna penalize because we've got people in those positions? And
penalize.
so penalize by not giving an increase? You're gonna penalize them because they're here?
The market is
And
not
they
showing
fill
we
the
need
position?
to raise salaries. It's the market, it's a buy and sell.
You're showing appreciation for people who are doing a good
I'm
job.
looking at this like sheer business, it's market. What
but I would say too,
services
if you're
cost
basing
and-
it on need, like that's not a fair statement, because this last year, 2 years, I've had several employees leave. And I would say probably filling positions the last several years has been much harder based on multiple factors in the county.
Todd, you wanted me to wait why?
3 or 2.5 or 3, I don't mind adjusting
It only takes 2.
other people.
well, unfortunately, you're gonna have to adjust. I mean, we have to adjust everybody. We don't have that luxury of.
We can, well, what about, so JD's tied into this? He didn't have to be. These things, these certain positions do not have to be, this is only for elected, the only thing we are bound by is for electeds. So if we do 3,
Let's just leave JD out of this.
he is out of it, I don't think he should be a part of it, and anything else, we might wanna take some up, some down. This is only thing that we're bound by these percentages is the elected people, and then they have to work inside their deputies. And 3% is still a good raise. We are between this and the jail and all these other things that were voted, our tax burden is coming, I mean, it's coming.
I know.
And I got it, but
The jail was
this is
being
going to
voted.
step on top of that. I'm just trying to look out for what's coming down the bill. Because you know, a lot of these people that do a lot of good work here, their phones don't maybe necessarily ring when the tax bill comes. Mine rings, I get calls when they show up, I believe the assessor does. just for assessing it, but
And you know what the assessor's asking for?
I saw that, I saw that. I'm not,
13.1%.
am I defending that? No.
But in the budget, your general fund levy is not increasing based on wage increases. It's not increasing at all this year. And your rural service levy is not increasing because of wages. It's not increasing this year. It's decreasing.
Well, we
So
would,
actually, the only thing that's going to take our levy up this year is the jail. And that was voted in by the people of Page County. They supported that. So if you're saying that their taxes are going to increase based on these wages, there isn't a
if wages
levy
go up,
increase based on these.
if wages go up, taxes have to go up. The money's not paid from the clouds. It will come up in some way, shape, or form. It's 3 o'clock. This isn't even on the
We need
agenda.
to decide this
It's not on the
before we
agenda.
quit. We need to.
And we
decide.
also, hold on, put on the agenda not to take any action on this. So we can talk about the next time in the morning, I guess. Yep. So we need to get to our next agenda at our next meeting, but if there was a big money tree, we would pick a bunch off and do 100% raises, but we can't. So, but for now, we gotta go to the next agenda, it's 3 o'clock. So we need
I
to,
want you to consider 3.5.
okay, I'll go home and think about 3.5. And we'll,
Just remember, it only takes two of us.
okay. We need to get our other agenda out here. Oh, so we're going from one meeting into another. I don't know if we need
We need
to
to adjourn the budget.
adjourn the budget meeting and then go into their new agenda. Yeah, it says adjourn.
Adjourn.
I got a motion, a second adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All right, we've adjourned the budget meeting. Okay, now,
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we, well, I don't know. Yeah, I asked him. If we need to do that.
Can we just continue? I don't know.
Are they two different lines? Same. But you're saying-
I don't know. That's true. Where's that agenda? If it's a different login,
I'm thinking.
let me see. Well, no, you always go to the same place every time, I thought. Meeting ID. 5713 page. I think it's the same login information. It's the same information, so I'm guessing it's the same video. If that's the case, we'll call the meeting to order, or 3 o'clock. Oh, okay, wait,
It's not quite 3 yet,
we are,
2:59.
oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay. We'll take a little break here to stop and restart Zoom, then we can start.